What's up guys, Casual Cubing here. Today I'm going to be teaching you 12 more algs. This is the second video of my T-Zbll series, where I teach you all of T-Zbll, where I have this T-Zbll. I solved the case in one algorithm. Now today's subset is going to be the Diag subset, where we have these two opposites and these two opposites, and like these two matching and these two matching. So I already have the first case set up over here. You can see that we have two blocks. One is over here and the other one's over here. Or an additional way you can recognize is that you can see these two are opposite. And yeah, basically essentially to see blocks and blocks over here. They're like on the right hand side. Just think of it as an NA perm sort of pattern. Like for example, you see the blocks on the right hand side, the back one, this one, you can clearly see the reference over here if you look down. And yeah, so let me just show you the alg. This is the normal COL alg which I used to use until I learned full T-Zbll. So you hold it from this angle, keeping the block at the right and back. It's where like if you look at a block and see that the corner is matching with the edge and like the corner is on the right hand side, then like yeah, you use this alg. So essentially the the breakdown for this will be just doing some setup moves which are R, U prime, R2 prime, D prime, and then doing a set of moves which are like R wide, G2, R wide prime, and then I'm doing those setup moves like D, R2, U, R prime. And for when I do the R2, I like to do a push U like this, or instinctively I could also do a pinch U. Like yeah, I personally do a pinch U like this. So yeah, that's the first case. Let me set up the second case. Sorry for the lockups. This time same thing, but this time we have blocks on the left hand side, kind of like an NB perm. As you can see, we got blocks on the left hand side. And yeah, if you imagine an NB perm and see that you have this edge sticker or edge color, actually, since I'm not using a stickerless cube. Also, I mean, you know, I'm using a stickerless cube, forget about whatever I said. I see this color is matching with the corner color on the left side, meaning like this is the second case and I have opposites on the right, block, ops on right. I do a U2 to position over here and I execute this hack. So essentially it's basically like just doing the same alg which I taught you in the first case, but from the back slot, like the back right slot. So you just take this pair out like this, and instead of doing an R, you do an R2, D, R wide prime, E2, R, D prime, and an R2 prime to fix a pair, U prime R, and yep. For the third case of this video, we have a case where we only have a block on the left side over here and opposites on the right over here. Now if you have a block on this side over here, opposites on the right, like I've stated, the block is supposed to be on the right hand side if you have the block at the front, but at the back it's like towards the left with the opposites on right. So if you have this case, you do a U prime and hold it from this angle. By the way, AUF goes with this corner piece, and you execute this algorithm. So breakdown is basically just do a Shrek move to take this pair out, and then RU R prime to kind of like set this up, but you transition to a commutator with R2 prime, and like basically the commutator is basically taking this one to here, which goes here, which will go here. So once you do an R2 prime instead of an R prime, like you do an R prime and then like another one, like an R2 prime to transition, you do a push D like this, R U prime R prime, and then D with the ring finger. The D moves are all controlled by a ring finger, or you do and then insert it like normal. The fourth case of this video is the mirror of the previous case. So after one case, I'm going to show it like its mirror version, if there's a mirror version of it. And for this case, yes, there is. We have the block on the right hand side. This time, if we have the block at the back, if it's on the front, it'll be on the left hand side, facing towards the left hand side. And if you have the block at the back, then you have opposites on the left. So you have two options. You can keep the block over here and opposites at the back, and you can execute the lefty version. But since most of you are probably right-handed, then I recommend you keeping the opposites at the front. And like from this angle, just do U prime, opposites at the front, and do Diag. So essentially, a breakdown is just doing a Shrek but for the back slot, just like how we did in the front slot for the third case, the previous case, which I just taught you. And then R prime, U prime, R2 to like transition to the same commutator, D, R prime, U, R, and then a D prime you can do with the push ring finger, or I just do it with my middle finger like this. R prime, U2 flick, R prime, you may do push U, or you may do an R prime, drag U, and an R. Now, for the fifth case of this video, this may be a little hard to recognize at first, but you have to hold it from this angle. Essentially, you see no blocks, no bars anywhere whatsoever, except for opposites on the right. This one and this one are opposites. These two are opposites. And how I used to actually recognize is that I would imagine these corners twisted, and I see whichever one will create a block, then I know that it's that case. So if the right corner creates a block like this, then I know that it's this case. If I know that the left one creates a block, then I know it's the other case. But an easier way to do it, and especially mid-solve, instead of imagining blocks which would take more time, you can just look at recognition and find opposite blocks. Like this is an opposite block, which I call, or an opposite bar. And if I have my opposite bar on the right side, then I know that this Diag-Zbll is this case, is this, yeah, this case obviously. So yeah, this block one. So if I have the opposite bar on the right side, then this alg will be applicable. So essentially, for this case, what I would do over here, I will regrip R prime, and then I'll do a U and a D prime simultaneously. A U with my index and a D prime with my right ring finger. This one, like so. And then like there are two options here. I could regrip R U2 R prime, but you can also do a rolling R U2 R prime D with your left ring finger, R prime, U prime, R, U2, flick, R prime, U prime, R2. So let me set up the next case of this video. So this is the same thing but mirrored. Imagine that, so you can imagine the corners twisting, and you can see that there's a block on the left side, unlike in the previous case where you had the block on the right side. Second, there we go. Now there are two options. Number one, you can execute lefty alg, like just basically instead of doing RU moves and just instead of doing RU and D moves, do LU and D moves like this. And yeah, one more thing to note, you have the opposite bar on the left side. Just remember that for quicker recognition. So you can do Diag. So there's also another option where you could just do a U2, and you know like how you do the R prime U stuff, you can just do an R U prime D and then like just R prime U2 R D R U R prime U2 R U R2 prime. You can also do that, but it basically depends on you if you can do lefty moves good enough, or if you just stick to right moves and you're like more biased with your like hands and like which one you like to prefer to use. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to say. So breakdown would be like for right-handed users. For left-handed users, it's basically the same thing as the mirrored case which I showed you, but for right-handed users, we just do U2 and R U prime D R prime U2 R D prime, and then basically an R push U like that, or I could do a pinch U like this, R U R prime U2 flick with my right hand, R U R prime, I mean R2 prime. You could also do the U2 flick, which I said with my right hand. You could also do that with the left hand. So yeah, that's the sixth case. Let's get into the seventh and eighth cases, and obviously the rest of the video. For case 7 of this video, you can essentially see that we have all the edges permuted, but if we imagine these corners twisted, then we get an E perm. So another way to recognize is that you can have a look at this sticker on this edge piece. The color of this edge is opposite to this edge. I'm sorry, I mean corner. What am I saying? These two colors are opposite, or you can just do U2, have a look and see you have this checkerboard pattern. And like just imagine as if like it were an H perm. Just like ignore the top and look at this. And like once you recognize the CP meaning corner permutation, you see this opposite pattern, red and orange opposite colors for in this instance. These two match, and this is opposite to these two in terms of color, in terms of the color scheme. That's what I mean. And then we hold it from this angle and perform this algorithm. So yeah, the alg may be a little bit confusing at first, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you will understand, and yeah, you'll be able to execute it properly. So for breakdown, first of all, the back left corner, this one, this is the, so like, okay, what I'm trying to say is AEF goes with this. Sorry for the improper wording. So you hold it from this angle, and you do an R2 prime F, a Shrek move, and then it's kind of like a T perm, but like a little bit, you know, inverted, and yeah, R prime, F prime. And then I like to do this R prime, and to like hide this pair, a U prime with my ring finger, R2, U2, R, rolling R, yeah, U2, and then a rolling R. And yeah, so AUF does not go with the back left, it goes with the back right. Sorry for the, yeah, okay. Now I have this. I'm gonna just show you that AUF actually goes with this corner. So like this, Shrek, R prime, F prime, R prime, and don't do an R or R2. You need to do an R prime to preserve this pair, and then U prime with the ring finger, since it's like just positioned properly like that, or you could just do U prime with your index finger, but still U prime, R2, and you can do a U2 with the double flick, since like your hand is in the perfect position. Like once you do the R2, you can directly do the U2 flick with the right hand. R, rolling R, this is a rolling R, U2, and then rolling R. Now for the eighth case, this one was a little confusing also. The seventh case, the previous case which I also showed you, was a little confusing, but don't worry, once you actually practice it, hopefully you will actually understand. For the eighth case, first of all, what I would like to say is that once we twist the corners, this is another E perm, but from a different angle. We see that this block is like just complete, unlike in the previous case where we had opposites, a checkerboard pattern, as you can see. But we got this block here. If we match it to, and like AUF goes with this, all right, we hold it from this angle just like we did for previous alg, and yeah, the alg goes something like this. It may be a little bit weird, but I promise I'll make things easier. While learning this alg myself, it kind of reminded me of the GA alg. One second, I accidentally set up a GB. Sorry for that. It reminds me of the starting of the GA alg. If you know full PLL, then yeah, it reminds me of a GA perm. You basically start off with an R2 wide, you pinch U like this, U, R prime, U prime, and a sledgehammer, but the first R prime in the sledgehammer is an R wide prime, and then the rest of the sledge is normal, like boom, bam, boom. And instead of doing an R wide prime, you can just transition into this OLL alg. So you just do U, R prime, U prime, and then the same sledge thing which I just taught you, but like R wide prime and then a normal sledge. Like just continue with the normal sledge. So yeah. So for finger tricks, some people like me may lock up with these finger tricks. So what I recommend you doing is just keep a relaxed grip and use the pinch U in the beginning. So yeah, let's get into the ninth case. Okay, so for the ninth case, we have the same angle. We're gonna hold it from the same angle, and AF goes with this left corner. And the only pattern we can see is just like a block over here. If we hold it from this angle, then we have a block on the right hand side, but if we hold it from this angle, the block will be on the left side. If we keep the block towards ourselves, it's kind of like a wing with the right piece attached to the middle. So it's like a wing on the right hand side. So if we have it and we have the block on the right hand side, we hold it from this angle and perform the alg. So breakdown, if you already memorized this case, then it's basically the inverse alg. So let me just set it up. You basically take this front right slot out with like RU R prime, U2, commutator like R prime D prime, the push D like this, RU R prime, D, and then R2 U prime R prime, and insert this with a reverse shrek. So the 10th case of this video, I think, I think this is the 10th one, correct me if I'm wrong. Now for this case, essentially it's basically the mirror of the previous case. This was the previous case I just showed you, and over here we have the block on the left hand side. It's like a left-handed wing where we have the left piece attached to the middle piece. They're like matching, and if we hold it from this angle, then the block is going to be on the right side. So we hold it from this angle. Actually we hold it from here for the alg, and we perform this alg. So essentially what we do for the breakdown is we take the back right slot out, like back right pair out like this, U2, and then R, D, R prime, U prime, R, D prime, the push D, R2 prime, and then like you can do two things from here. You can like do a pull U like that, a drag U, but I prefer to do a push U like this, R, U prime, and R prime. You can also do the drag one here, or you can do the push, which I preferably do, U prime, R. So let me show you. Sorry, I set up the wrong case. There we go. So yeah, let's get into the last two cases of this video. Now for the second last case of this video, we have this one, but the block's on the right hand side. Just okay, give me a second. So yeah, for the second last case of this video, we see that we have the same block, just like in the this case over here. Remember this one? If you've already learned this, then this block, as you can see over here, is just over here in the same exact case, but there's one difference. You got a big block over here in the left hand side, Now what I wanted to do is hold it from this angle. Yep. This block, the AUF goes with this block, and you have a block on the left hand side, as you can see. And the algorithm, it's just kind of like this. This is the alg. So yeah, essentially what you do is you kind of do like a JB perm, and you kind of do like a JB perm over here until here. Instead of doing an R2 prime, I mean an R2, you do an R, U prime, and this winter variation, where we have this corner oriented yellow matching with white, and this one like this. And for this winter variation, it's just R prime, F, R, reverse rec, F prime. So it's just a J perm, like so, until we get to here, and then a winter variation. Looks like you learned a few new algs, other than T-Zbll, a new winter variation, I guess. So yeah, let me set up the last case of this video. This is the very last case of this video, where you have this big block over here, and instead of having the block on the left hand side, we have it on the right hand side. So this block over here, AUF goes with this line over here, just like in the previous case. And you have two options here. Either what you can do, and what I used to do, is you can execute the lefty version of the alg, which I just taught you. But since most of you are right-handed, I'm gonna show you the right-handed alg. Hold it from this angle. Remember, AUF goes with this. And just like the first case, the very first case, this one, you kind of do this. Wait, I'll just tell you about that in the breakdown. Let me show you the alg. 1 second. So essentially, what you do, just like how I was explaining before, but then I just stopped. You do this alg, this T-Zbll alg, or the COLL alg, which I used to use. If you already memorized this case, then this last case will be very easy to do. You just do the alg like this, but then instead of inserting it, you can just transition into an anti-soon. So instead of inserting it, you get if you insert it, then you get anti-soon. So once you come up with the R2, and instead of doing U R prime, you can just do a U prime, R prime, U prime, and then just, yeah. So basically it's just that first case transitioning into an anti-soon, first case alg, R2, U prime, and then cancel, and then R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, for like to transition into an anti-soon. So one more time, this is the last time. First case alg, transition into an anti-soon. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching my second video of T-Zbll. I'll be sure to make, I'm sure that I'll make more videos like this. And if you enjoyed, and yeah, okay, you know what, just listen up. If you like this video, then consider subscribing for more content like this. And if you learned something new, then yeah, drop a like. So this is Casual Cubing signing off.